why the uterus is sacred, and why context matters. Hello, I am Dr. K. Paul Stoller, and we hear a lot of talk about body count. We say high numbers are undesirable. We say they reduce the ability to sustain long-term relationships.
And even if some of that is true, it doesn't seem to change behavior.
Why? Because most people are told what to think, but almost no one explains why. And without understanding what is being protected, warnings sound like judgment instead of wisdom. What women often hear is, "Your past makes you less valuable." That framing creates resistance, not reflection. Humans don't change behavior because they're shamed. They change when they understand what is at stake. So let's talk about what almost no one explains. Across civilizations, long before modern medicine, the uterus was treated as more than a reproductive organ. Ancient cultures viewed it as a chamber of creation, a seat of feminine power, a memory-holding vessel, a center of continuity. These cultures didn't share science or ideology, yet they converged on the same intuition. The uterus is formative, not passive. That matters. Biologically, the uterus is unique. It prepares cyclically for union, receives foreign genetic material, reorganizes itself in anticipation of life, communicates directly with hormones, immunity, and the brain. There is no equivalent organ in the male body, not the prostate, not anything else. This is not about superiority, it's about functional asymmetry. Women and men are different systems with different vulnerabilities. Now let's be clear. When people say the uterus is a portal, they do not mean something supernatural or literal. They mean this: it is a threshold organ. It interfaces emotion, attachment, memory, anticipation, meaning sex is not neutral to a system designed for depth and continuity. Each intimate encounter creates emotional imprinting, unconscious bonding threads, expectations, comparisons. Over time, repeated access without containment can fragment the capacity for deep pair bonding, not as punishment, as consequence. Women tend to bond through emotional integration, embodied attachment, relational continuity. The uterus amplifies this process. When access is casual, frequent, or unprotected emotionally, the system adapts. Depth becomes harder, contentment becomes elusive, stability feels dull. This is not weakness, it's design interacting with environment. Some people intuitively sense this connection in the body. For example, uterine fibroids are not caused by anger. That would be irresponsible to say. But somatic psychology tells us something important. The body often stores what the psyche cannot resolve. Chronic boundary violation, emotional suppression, unexpressed resentment, lack of felt safety tends to show up in organs tied to receptivity, creation, and containment. The question isn't blame. The question is, what was never protected? Women are told, explore freely, don't let shame control you. Empowerment means access. They are rarely told how depth differs from novelty, how repeated intimacy reshapes bonding capacity, how emotional residue accumulates, why selectivity preserves joy, why boundaries are a form of self-respect. Without the why, guidance feels like control. With the why, choice becomes informed. Shame never changes behavior, but reverence does. When women understand that something powerful lives within them, that protection is strength, not fear, that sacred does not mean repressed, that depth requires boundaries, some, not all, but some, will choose differently. Not because they are told they are wrong, but because they finally understand what they are guarding. The uterus is not fragile, it is powerful, and powerful things require intention, discernment, respect. Sacred does not mean untouchable, it means not casually entered. When people understand the reasons behind the reasons, they stop acting against their own long-term well-being. Right now, that understanding is missing, not because it's forbidden, but because modern culture has lost the language for reverence without shame. And until that language returns, many will keep learning the hard way what should have been taught with care.